You're listening to WGTN, the official broadcasting platform for the Global Transformation Network. This podcast contains an interview between the Global Transformation Network's Diana Mood and Terry Graham, and Gene Kapsner, a longtime veteran of multiple mission trips to the Afar region of Ethiopia.
Okay, can I ask you some questions now about Afar?
Yes. I hope I have answers for you. Yeah, it's hot. During the hot season, it gets up to about 110 degrees. It cools. It's very hot. It's dry heat, but it cools down nicely in the evenings.
And what is the hottest time of the year?
We just had it. I want to say June-ish in that area was hot.
Okay, so
now it's rainy season now, so everybody loves it.
Okay, so the rainy season in Addis is over our U.S. summer.
Correct.
But for
June to October.
But for Afar, the rainy season is like September to...
No. There's the long rainy season in Afar is June to September. There's a short one in February, but doesn't amount to much. And I think there's a short one just before Christmas. The long one is the one we are concerned about. I would never go out during that time because I couldn't get over the river. So yes, that's the long one.
Tell us
And it's usually towards the end of June.
But it's also hottest in June, you said.
A little bit before. Because I remember being out doing a training, and I couldn't believe how incredibly hot it was. So April, May, June is really hot.
Well, tell us about one of your trips up. I remember... Tell us who goes and who handles the project and about the truck and the river.
Well, I have a small team. It's myself and Joan are the main people. Joan a lot of times couldn't go, so it left me, which at that point then I would just, okay, God, who do you want? I need a translator. Who do you want to put in the car? So God actually always put together a beautiful team for me, depending on what I was doing out there. So if I was doing a training, I would have a translator. And so on the whole, Joan did the spiritual piece because she had the language better. I was very poor at language, so I always had a translator. Joan is much more relational than I was, although I was okay, but she was very relational. The truck, we took a four-wheel drive Land Cruiser, and it could go through some rivers, but you needed four-wheel drive. The sand part, when it is so incredibly dry before the rainy season, the sand is actually more dangerous because it gets so deep, and if you don't know how to drive through sand, it's very deep and it's very hard. And we were stuck actually a couple times because we had a very poor driver that didn't know what. You need to have a very experienced driver.
You talked to us about a time when 5 women went and you got stuck in the river in the truck, I think.
Oh, yeah, and I got stuck in the sand, too, with us 5 women, yes.
So
So
I just couldn't believe that 5 women were taking this laborious, arduous trip, and you did it often.
Right, in the beginning we did, because we didn't have a driver. So, yes, there were 5 of us, and we were all women. Joan did most of the driving, and I did a little bit, but Joan did most of it. And looking back, it was only by the grace of God that we made it.
Yes. You're brave.
Very brave.
Yeah, thank you. I maybe stupid would be a good word, too. We made the program bigger after that, and we got more involved, too. So
now, I know that there are people on the roads and thieves if you drive to Harar, and SIM made a rule that you couldn't drive except during the day. Is that true going to Afar, that there are thugs and thieves?
We did not have any problems like that. Because, we went through Awash or we went through Debre Berhan to the north. And then once we got into Afar, it was fine. As long as you don't take pictures of their camels, the Afar do not bother you. So just put that in your notes. I love the camels, but you can't take pictures of the Afar CU because they will shoot you.
Oh.
So, anyway, but no, we did not have those problems. And the Afar, in the beginning, we went with, and then after they knew we belonged with, and everybody loved him out there, We were just accepted.
Are there any government checkpoints along the way?
No,
And-
not the area I went to.
What's the most dangerous thing about traveling to Afar?
I think the road conditions. The last time we went out, we had a very strong rain beforehand, and they come up really fast and you don't know, and it washed out 6 roads that we had to have the Turkish government fill them in so that we could pass over. So I think that, but the last time also when we were off, and we were going to visit 3 clinics in the rural area, because we go to Dalessa, which is the village, the town, and then we travel to the villages, but we stay overnight in Dalessa. Well, there was a feud going on in one of those villages, and they had killed 30 people between the 2 tribes, so we could not go there because you get killed in crossfire. So depending if there's an uprising and a feud, and if you go alone, because I know one man was just visiting Afar, he was a single white guy, and they said, what is he doing here? They're trying to steal our women, so they would have killed him had he not gotten out, because they're not very trustworthy until they know you.
It doesn't sound like there's very much government presence in terms of police or security or anything.
Well, the government doesn't want to go out there because they're afraid. I mean, the Afar are warriors like the Somali, and if you get out there in their area, they just do what they want to do and then they go hide.
So it's sort of lawless.
Yes, but I will tell you that with the FGM training that we did, the government said to us, you don't have to train on this, we've done a lot. And the women we talked to said, yes, we know all these things. And one of the young girls said, Mom, if you do that to me, I will call the police and they'll put you in jail. So in the larger areas, the police are there.
When they
So
do
there
that, what, FGM?
Yes, if they start to, because the government is saying it's illegal to do FGM now to the young girls.
Right.
And the young girls don't want it. And so the young girl said, we will tell the police, Mom, and they'll put you in jail. And so she was afraid. So there is starting to be police protection, but I just don't think it's that good yet. I wouldn't depend on it.
Is there any kind of infrastructure of any kind, government-based or NGO-based or village-based?
Well, the health clinics I know the most about it. You know, we have a health center at Dalessa, and then every cabaret around has a health clinic with a nurse in it or a health extension worker. There's the health education department in Dalessa, which has teachers. With each health clinic, there are there's schools set up. So they kind of have a base.
Health schools for the kids?
Yes, and the schools, a lot of them have youth centers.
Huh.
And so the youth are being organized through the health education department, and they're actually doing some of my health education training for me, the youth. So there are starting to be some, and then there's community, where the community gets together and does talks, and they do a lot of education that way, a community-based structure. In fact, if you could tap into, get into the town and go to the government officials right away. Be upfront and honest and tell them who you are. And if you get in with the government, you've got it made. They will help you. But if you don't include the government, you don't have a chance.
Well, Beletu's project has been approved by the government, and they're very happy that he's in there.
Good. That's excellent. So when you go, make sure you go and tell them, oh, hi, we're working with him, and so they know who you are. When a new person comes into Afar, it doesn't take more than 20 minutes, and everybody knows you're there. Yeah.
The camels talk.
It's called Dagu, and it's their way of communication.
Now, when you're talking about these clinics and schools and community centers, is it over the whole region or just in the southern part?
No, I think it's pretty much, I think that's how they're trying to establish the government facilities in every zone.
Because they are still pretty nomadic, aren't they?
Yes.
So
they're semi-nomadic now. Some always stay in place, and the bigger ones move with the camels. But yes, they are nomadic.
Do the people want the education? Do they want increased infrastructure, or are they opposed to it?
No, I think they realize that the government, I just wrote about this, the government, they realize that some of the opportunities that are being offered by the government and NGOs actually help them.
Okay.
So what when I go in and do a launching, I tell them what the situation is like and say, is that what you want? And this is how we can make it better. But you need to be involved. You've got to, you know that. You've got to get community involvement.
Right.
And so, yes, I think they want it. Most of the time they would prefer your money, but that's the government corruption. But yes, I think they're realizing. Now, the other thing is they also look at us like, oh, we'll get money and we'll get stuff from them.
Right.
They don't see education as that big a deal yet, but we can only chip away little by little with that.
You
I
don't,
think that's what
you don't see
ahead.
many disabled kids or people?
I did not. When you told me there were 1,500 in Kamami, I thought, I didn't see, I maybe saw one or two in my area, but then I'm wondering, I didn't see any FGM, I didn't see any, fistulas, and I thought, are they just hiding them and I can't find them? So I tried to send out the Health Bureau to say, would you go find these people for me and let me know how many you have? Because they told me in Dulessa there were more fistulas than there were the orthopedic problems for cure.
Sounds like they're probably just hiding them.
That's what I'm thinking, because I can't believe they're not there because of the horrible lifestyle they lead.
Right, I mean, and
So
just the cleft palates and the club feet and stuff. I mean, it's just common.
Yeah. And their diet is such that they should have it. So I don't get it. I don't see it, is what I'm saying. I don't know. Maybe they kill them.
Right. Yeah, they may just let them die or kill them.
Yeah.
Because they can't survive.
Well, the midwife at told me one time, he said, gee, because I just love him. He's so good. He said, gee, I just delivered twins the other day, and I had to resuscitate one of them because it wasn't breathing. And so he got it back, and he was so proud that he did this resuscitation. He gave it to the mom, and the mom looked at him and says, you should have let it die. I can only feed one.
Yeah.
So, it's so hard, and it's so sad, and that they don't respect life at all, I don't think. But maybe they know it's just a hard life, too. It is hard.
Is there any presence of the church anywhere?
No. I know that's the greatest desire now is to plant a church. We possibly have 2 or 3 families in that are believers. One of them is rather bold. The other one is not, but he just carries an air of peace around him. And then I think out in there's probably about 20 or 30 believers, but they're all afraid to talk because they don't know who they can trust. You can't even trust one tribe to another tribe, even if you're Afar.
Now, Beletu, what town does Beletu make his base in before he goes out there?
Sherobit.
Sherobit. He says there's a church there that his family established.
Yes, I heard about his dad or something, wasn't it?
Yes.
Because didn't his dad have a school or something, and then they started a church?
Yes, there's a church there, and I think there's a group of believers there. And he kind of uses that as a base. He's based in Addis, but when he goes out there, if we were going to have a training, he was suggesting that it be in Sherabat. But if we go, we also want to go out to Kamami. Now, if in fact he gets these people trained, and they go up there and do that, are they in danger?
No. No, I don't see, the people in my church, the Ethiopians, oh my gosh, why are you in Afar? It's not safe. And I have never felt like I was in danger. But I don't think you're in danger.
Okay.
I never felt like I was in danger. Now, I could never, but the government didn't let us, because we were a development project, the government would not let me speak about religion or
Right.
In the things, because I had to separate the two. Although I did say, well, I have a story. Anybody want to hear a story? And if they ask you for a story, you can tell it. And so I would tell stories. Afar people love stories, by the way. I guess there's always going to be danger, but it doesn't mean you don't go. But I think I don't see a lot of uprising against you when you go to teach. I don't see that as a problem.
Mm-hmm. Now, I was thinking about these guys that training, in a sense, these Ethiopians to be evangelists, whether they be in.
Oh, well, yeah, they live in, and it's fairly safe there. It's when you get out into the villages
Right.
that you need to be a little more concerned.
Right.
So I hear what you're saying. No, I think they're fine.
Along with the conditions and the temperature, what's the altitude?
I don't know it in Kamami. Kamami means small mountain, so it's obviously higher. It's probably the same as Delessa because they're just small mountains. You take these mountains and you climb them, and then you climb down them, but then you go into the valley because I think mostly all Afar is desert.
And are the mountains just mountains of sand?
No, they're rocks. When we go through Debre Berhan and then try to go in through Argoba, that's the route we take. I mean, those are high mountains. I mean, you look over the edge and think, oh, yeah, I don't want to fall down there. Mm-hmm. So those are mountains. They're not just little hills. But then you go down into the valley, and then that's where, so I don't know. I think it's actually even higher than Addis, and Addis is what, 8,500 feet.
Yes.
What's
so
higher?
It's possibly a little, pardon?
What's higher, the mountains you go over or the valley?
No, the mountains that we go through to get to Afar are higher than Addis. But in Afar yourself, it's not that high.
Okay. Have you ever flown? Would you recommend we fly to Sherobit?
And it would be so much easier. That's what I keep thinking. Oh, to fly into these places would be so nice. Because it's the road trip is so hard.
But beautiful.
I mean, I don't know how. Yeah, it's very pretty, but it's a good 7-hour drive with a couple stops. But it's very, very tiresome sitting in that car, and it's a hard. The roads are getting better. Where we go now, the roads are getting better. I don't know what they're like into Kamami and Sherobit.
How long does it take you to get the Turkish government to repair a washed out road?
Oh, it was just an hour or so. They had good equipment.
Huh.
So you got a hold of them and they just showed up and fixed them?
Well, we were actually driving and it was washed out, and a couple of them were there. And he says, he tried to tell us to go back to Awash and wait. And I said, no, we'll just sit here and wait. So we just sat there and we waited for them to fill it in, and then we drove over that one. And then we went to the next one, and they were coming from the other side filling it in. So all 6 of them got filled in. So I think we were only maybe 2-3 hours delay.
Jean, I wish we could go with you. I need you. I need to go with you.
No, I'm going to fly in if I go.
So tell us about the diseases. What do we need yellow fever?
You can't get into the country without yellow fever. I don't think they have it out there, but you do need that.
Malaria?
Malaria is your big one.
Cholera?
Only if they have problems. I know down south in Arbor Minch they had cholera for a while. Yeah, typhoid is out there. Schistosomiasis, so stay out of the water. And let's see, what's the other one? Brucellosis. Brucellosis would be the other one. It's from animals.
Is that in the water?
No, that is air transmitted via in the animals. That's treatable with antibiotics. And schistosomiasis is also treated with antibiotics.
So how do you know if you've gotten whatever it is?
Brucellosis.
Brucellosis.
Well, when I have diagnosed at least one person out there, they're very tired, wore out, and they're the people you don't want to be around, because you ever be around people who all they do is complain about minor little aches and pains? It's like, oh, my big toe hurts today and I can't hardly stand it and I can't walk on it. You know, those, it's like, really, shut up. That's the personality they take on. They take on this horrible personality that they're whiny and complaining and can't stand anything. That's brucellosis.
I think I've got it. I think I've had it since 1966.
No, you don't.
Hey, Jean, if there's a lot of malaria, does that mean there's a lot of mosquitoes?
Yes.
Mm.
Do you sleep
And
in?
especially, yeah, and then you got to decide if it's malaria season. But I would just, given you girls' health history and everything, I would be on prophylactic for malaria if I was you.
So do you sleep in a net?
I don't.
Okay.
But you know, I did take out, I went with Amanda the last trip I went out, and she had her own little net. You know, they have those little tents that you can just put up and you crawl in and it's a net. Have you ever seen those?
No.
You put it on the bed?
No, actually, it's
On
a
the
tent you
sand.
set up, and then you put your mattress in there or your sleeping bag, and you just sleep right inside.
On the sand.
Sand on you put a mattress, yeah, you put it right on the ground. We slept in school buildings.
In the school building. They did it in the school building. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so just put it in the school building, set it up, throw your mattress in there, and your sleeping bag, and that's how I would go if I was you. It's better than trying to hang one from a ceiling.
Yes,
Okay.
that's hard to do.
Yeah.
I think the more you went, I never got sick. I rarely got sick. I think twice I got Giardia.
And do we need to be fully covered to be in a Muslim area?
Yes, you have to have your head covered and your legs covered.
My
You would not wear
arms?
short sleeves. Your arms just halfway.
Okay. So when my head is covered, it's not a burqa,
No.
but it's
No.
some kind of a scarf.
Yeah, anything. Just put something on your head. Sometimes I even wore my safari hat. But just put a scarf on your head and you're good to go. Okay, the one thing I want to say, and I don't know if you've ever heard, but I was doing one training. It was a Metany film, but it was on high-risk pregnancy. And I showed this movie about this young girl who ended up bleeding to death while she was pregnant and died. And one of the Afar traditional birth attendants spoke up and said, "This is our life. We work hard, it's hot, and we die." And to me, that statement summarizes their no hope for that community and that people. And I think, yeah, it's hot. They said it's hot first, we work hard, and it dies.
Got it.
And I think if they don't know, if they don't have the hope of Jesus, they have nothing.
Yes.
And I think that to me is just so, when I heard that, I just looked at Joan and we both just started crying.
Right.
And so I just think that's so powerful to me. So anyway, I put that out there if you can use that.
Yes, that's very good. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today for our podcast between the Global Transformation Network's Diana Mood and Terry Graham, and Gene Kapsner, a longtime veteran of multiple mission trips to the Afar region of Ethiopia. If you would like to donate to the Global Transformation Network, please go to our website at www.gtninc.org and click the donate button at the top right corner of the page. This has been a production of WGTN, the Global Transformation Network. Copyright 2017.